1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All right, what did I get up to?
Welcome to another episode of How Many, the only podcast that actually counts. Here with Gary Grant, Junior Lopez. Unfortunately, we've lost Jesse Jackson and Scott Matula to a unfortunate gardening accident. They both exploded while gardening at the same time, just like the Spinal Tap drummers.
He died. He died in a bizarre gardening accident some years back.
It's really one of those things. It was, the authorities said, best leave it.
It's not
unsolved, really.
No, they're very much alive, just not with us today. But we do have a fun topic, Madden cover.
The man, John Madden. Need I say more? Okay, I will. Football. He studies it, analyzes it, puts it in his game. Tough, real tough, full rosters. The all-Madden team. Need I say more? Okay, I will. Stats season long. In his head, in his voice, in his game. What do you want? Real players? You got it. High stats? You got it. Windowless passing? You got it. Madden, he's the man. You think John's got a big head about all this? Give me a break. The guy rides a bus to work. Madden NFL 95, the game. EA Sports. It's in the game.
Yes, so John Madden, the iconic coach, broadcaster, video game entrepreneur.
You can feel sound. I mean, if you hear a collision, you know it's a collision. Boom! Boom, 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 boom. You don't have to ask, was that a collision?
I like that kind of
That's my game. What's yours? Where'd that truck come from?
EA Sports. It's in the game.
Who also lots of beer commercials.
I'm not the same crazy coach who used to storm around the sidelines yelling at the officials. I've learned to relax, and I drink light beer from Miller. You know that light's got a third less calories than a regular beer? And listen to this. Light doesn't fill me up. Besides that, light tastes fantastic. Oh, sure, there are a lot of other beers around, and you can drink any one you want. But let me tell you this.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
As I was saying, I don't care what anybody else.
Recently passed away in December. So I thought it would be fun to kind of look at what everybody considers to be the Madden curse, which I guess eventually even he fell to, and look at the Madden covers from the year 2000 to the most recent one of 2022. The Madden curse, for people that are uninitiated, was if you ended up on the cover of Madden the following year, something bad would happen to you. You'd have a bad year, you'd have a bad injury, something would go awry with your season. So it became kind of a punchline if you ended up on the Madden cover that you could guarantee that something was going to happen that would be unfortunate to that player. So let's take a look back at each of the Madden covers and see how many of these players were actually good players beyond their Madden year and actually had successful careers.
So people who did not fall victim to the curse.
No,
Yes.
wait. Those are two different things. So I need clarification. Falling to the Madden curse just means that you have a bad year the year that you did it. We could just go pull stats for the people that played that year and see how they did. What Junior said just a minute ago, what I understood was how many of these guys ended up being good players.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's a couple that I could think of off the top of my head that I know were on the cover. And one in particular, when they put him on the cover, I was like, you've got to be kidding me. No way that guy belongs on the cover ever. And we'll get to his name at some point and I'll remind people that's who it was. But that's what I think of is even at the time, I thought that guy doesn't belong on the cover. And it just turned out to be a big old spare. So that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, I would completely agree with you, Gary. I think to me, it's the player that was on the cover that ended up having a successful career and wasn't just a one-hit wonder that ended up becoming a spare, after being on the cover or even before being on the cover. So that will be our criteria for our yeses and nos. So we have a baseline of 23. So let's get some guesses out. Gary, of those 23, how many do you think we will count as being successful past the Madden year?
I'm going to say 14.
I'll go next and I'll give Bob the opportunity to go last. I'm going to agree with you that it's somewhere in the 14 range, but I'm going to take the over from you and I'm going to say 15, which gives Bob, this gives Bob the opportunity to take the over and go 16 and trap me me with having to get an exact score.
Yeah, I'm not doing it to trap you. I'm doing it because I really don't think there's going to be more than 15 or 16. So I'll take 16. I would have done 15 if you hadn't done 15.
Now that is the over. So if you're thinking that it's going to be lower, then you've screwed yourself for sure. But we all may be screwed. So we'll see. Starting with the first cover, and this one we may just need to give a blanket yes to because John Madden was on the 2000 cover of Madden. So even though he wasn't necessarily a player during this time frame, I would say we rubber stamp that one, right?
Yeah,
because he's greatness.
Out of curiosity, I know we've all given our numbers already, but I just thought of something. This is individuals, right? Even though there have been a couple that had two people on the cover.
Yeah, I would say if there was two people on the cover, we would judge that they both had to have had successful careers.
Okay, so it's the covers by year. It was the person that was on the cover this year good.
Right.
So
Person or people.
It's two of them. Both of them have to be good.
Yeah.
Yes.
Did the year
Okay.
count?
Yeah,
All
if
right.
one of them's a spare, then we would not count it.
All right, got it.
All right, so moving into 2001, we have Eddie George, who was good at the time, and I think he had a pretty successful season. Former Cowboy, successful career. I'd be a yes.
Yeah.
Very, very solid career. That's a yes for me.
Was greatness in Tennessee, and then pretty good while he was a Cowboy.
Yeah.
Next up, 2002, Dante Culpepper, former Vikings quarterback. He was good until he got injured, and then he went completely downhill.
I was a big fan.
Although it was good shtick when he came back from his injury when he was with Miami and he scored that touchdown. He started pointing at his knee. That was good shtick, but I would give him a no.
Yeah, I would too. He had a couple big years, but I'd say
It's a no for me, dog.
He was more a byproduct of being able to throw to Randy Moss and Chris Carter more than anything. Next up, 2003, Hall of Famer Marshall Faulk.
Yes.
Big yes.
Yeah, big yes, right?
Faulk, yes.
Next up, we have the dog killer himself, Michael Vick.
Mm.
Now, good player at that time.
Dog killer or no, always thought he was kind of overrated.
He was.
I would agree. He was fantastic when he was running the ball, but he was not much of a passer.
He was the original Lamar Jackson.
Here's what's bizarre about him. So he's got an absolute rocket for an arm. But at the first sign of, if he saw anything that wasn't a perfect pocket, he was gone. They should have just made a slot receiver out of him. He was unbelievable with the ball in his hand. But there are so many good quarterbacks they have a lot of escapability. They're very agile, very athletic, very all those things. And yet they learned how to stand in the pocket and deliver the football. And I'll take those guys all day long.
Yeah, I'm going to say no. In addition to being a spare, not pooch friendly.
Right. Yeah.
Speaking of killers, 2005, Ray Lewis.
Oh, Ray Lewis.
Now, separate the art from the artist. Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Tremendous linebacker.
He's top 5 linebacker of all time. He's an absolute.
Yeah, he's definitely a yes. Next up, 2006, an okay quarterback, probably overrated by those Philadelphia spares, Donovan McNabb.
He's spare.
He was okay.
He was. You know what he was? He was Blurk Bluzin.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Yeah, you know what? You're not wrong. So I'm going to say no to Donovan McNabb. Next up, 2007, Sean Alexander, former Seahawk great.
And former Cowboy, right?
No,
I don't remember.
It was the Cowboys pick. They traded for Joey Galloway. The pick for Galloway was used on Sean Alexander.
Okay.
Or maybe you're thinking of Chris Warren.
Yeah, maybe I am. I was thinking of one that came here later in his career. Okay.
Yeah, that would be Chris Warren.
I mean, he was an MVP that season or the season before, I believe. He
had 25 touchdowns in a season. I never.
No longevity.
Great. No, zero longevity.
Yeah, I would have been on the fence on this one. Plus, they made it to the Super Bowl and lost to the Steelers in a terrible Super Bowl. I'm going to say no.
Yeah, for me, if you think about a guy like that, the first thing I want to do, if I want to judge for me whether or not I think that he was great, if we were having a conversation about the greats of the position, would his name come up? And his name would not come up. And I'm not even talking about being the greatest. I'm just saying, let's just talk about the great running backs in NFL history. We wouldn't even bring his name up.
He's not even the greatest running back in Seattle Seahawk history.
Yeah, he wasn't like the greatest in his generation. He wasn't any of
that. No, he had like 1 or 2 big years.
Yeah, he had that monster year with 25 touchdowns, and that was enough to make it, stick.
All right, moving on to 2008. Great in college, one of the greatest college quarterbacks of all time, Vince Young.
Had a great rookie year, but
had a
that's
great
about it.
rookie year. I wouldn't even say great. He had a good rookie year. He was just the best rookie quarterback that season.
Yep.
But yeah, he became a spare
Giants.
right after that.
Yeah, I'd say no.
A definite no. Now, if this was college, one of the greatest college quarterbacks of all time.
Right. If this was the whatever the college football game is to cover
NCAA 2020 or whatever.
Yeah, well, NCAA
Saban.
2002. Yeah, that he would definitely be that.
All right, 2009, Brett Favre.
Hey, Farva, what's the name of that restaurant you like with all the goofy shit on the walls and the mozzarella sticks? You mean Shenanigans? Oh, you're talking about Shenanigans, right?
Yeah.
Hall of Fame quarterback. You got to say yes to him. Although now he may not even be the greatest Packer quarterback of all time. But yeah, definite first ballot.
Magic Man.
Lynn Dickey. 2010. Here's one of the two people on the same cover: Troy Polamalu and Larry Fitzgerald, both Hall of Famers. This is a pretty easy one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a yes.
Even though Troy Polamalu spares us all to death in those stupid shampoo
That was one of the
commercials.
best Super Bowls ever, too.
Yes,
That Steelers,
definitely.
Cardinals.
Yes, I would agree.
Roethlisberger has time, throws to the back of the end zone, and it is caught for a touchdown by Holmes.
2011, we have Drew Brees, Saints quarterback, another Hall of Famer.
And
that would have been probably around the time they won the Super Bowl too. So yeah, definite yes. Now this next one I think is the one that Gary was referring to earlier. Giant spare when he was on the cover. Giant spare for the rest of his career. No idea why he was on the cover. Peyton Hillis.
It had to have been a
fullback.
bit. It had to have been a bit.
That's him.
Yeah, I have no idea why Madden chose to put a spare Cleveland fullback on the Madden cover, other than he knew people in the video game industry. He was terrible.
Now, if they had gone with Cooper Hillis, then maybe.
Yes, he's the superior Hillis.
What year?
By all accounts.
What year was it?
2012.
All right, so 2010, he rushed 270 times for 1,177 yards. It's 4 yards a carry, 4.4 yards a carry. And he had another 61 catches and a total of 13 touchdowns. That's the greatest thing he ever did. And I think he did more in that one season in 2010 than just about all of his other seasons combined. Played for a total of 6 years. And in his other 5 years, he couldn't even match that 1 year if you put them all together.
So they didn't even capitalize on his big year. They were 1 year too late.
They waited 1 year later
to add him to the cover. So just terrible decision making by the Madden personnel there.
Yeah, he's
it's like it'd be like Tom Rathman being on the cover.
No, Rathman.
I mean, even Rathman was good at least. All right, next up, 2013, Megatron, Calvin Johnson Jr.
Yes.
Should have played longer, but yes.
Yeah, Hall of Famer, definite yes. Next up, we have another two-person cover, although they were two different covers, two different players. I think one of them was for like a centennial edition or 25-year anniversary edition, and the other one was for the current year. 2014, Barry Sanders and Adrian Peterson, both Hall of Famers, probably going to be Hall of Famers.
Yes and yes.
Yeah.
And just like Megatron, same team, Barry Sanders quit young. It's like, how bad does your franchise have to suck? And you have like two of the all-time greats, and they both like, I'm good. I don't want to play for this team anymore.
Yeah, I'm tired of losing. And
I'll retire at 28 or whatever.
They pulled their pants down and walked their ass back across 8 Mile.
Yes.
Now if they were current year players, would it be more likely that they would force their way off the Lions as opposed to just saying, you know what, I'm just going to do something else with my life?
Say yes to Calvin, probably no to Barry.
Yeah, Barry probably would. I think Barry wasn't as into football as he probably could have been. He wasn't, he didn't live and breathe football like Emmett did, I think. Right. Barry versus Emmett. Let me know, America. You drive the bus.
Emmett,
okay, guys.
I am not the star, dear listener. You are. You drive this bus.
Here comes the phone number.
Captain this ship.
Yep.
I am your mere servant. 888 Guy Sports.
All right, next up, 2015, Richard Sherman.
No.
This is an interesting one. He was Defensive Player of the Year during the Seahawks heyday, but
The boom.
overrated cornerback, I think.
Yeah, definitely over.
Very lippy.
Very lippy.
I mean, I like that part of it. It's not that he's not good, just that's a no.
I think he was very physical, and he got away with it because the rest of his secondary was able to cover for him if he got burned trying to be too physical at the line of scrimmage.
Well, and they play a lot of cover too, which doesn't require him going downfield with a lot of people. The reason that he slipped in the draft is because he's not terribly fast. So they play a lot of cover too, where he's responsible for short zones and jamming receivers. And as a big corner, he's good at that. But again, I go back to what I said earlier. If we have a conversation about the greatest corners to ever play the game, his name's not coming up.
Do you think he will actually be considered for the Hall of Fame?
Yes.
Hey, Junior, if Tom Petty lined up in the slot across from him, would he say, "You're jamming me. Quit jamming me. You're jamming me. You're jamming me. Quit jamming me."
All right, so we're going to say no to Richard Sherman. Oh, I know Gary's going to say no to this one, although if UK Mark were here, he would say yes. 2016, Odell Beckham Jr., OBJ.
Overrated.
Yes, overrated Beckham Jr.
Yes. If UK Mark was here, I'm sure he'd make a compelling argument, but
Yeah, but he just overrates him because he was there at the catch game.
which they even lost. They didn't even win that game.
And he pushed off before that happened.
Was that against Skandrick?
No, it was against
Was it Carr?
yes, Carr.
Brandon
It was
Carr.
against Carr, and they were hand fighting. He pushed off, and for some reason, even though he pushed off, Carr got called for pass interference, and then he made the crazy stupid catch anyway, so it didn't matter.
All right, so we will say no to OBJ. Next up, 2017, Rob Gronkowski.
Yeah.
Probably a first ballot Hall of Famer. You got
He's
to
a
say
whip,
yes.
but yeah.
I think he's actually kind of funny. I like his commercials.
Now, Frank, don't you love me, man?
Sure, Gronk.
And don't you think I deserve a USAA membership?
Yeah, he's funny. I don't mind him, and yeah, he's a beast on the field. So.
He's like the NFL version of Charles Barkley. I think he will make a good broadcaster someday. Next up, we have probably the GOAT, 2018, Tom Brady.
Yep.
Yeah.
First ballot. You gotta say yes to Brady. 2019 is interesting because he was great at the time, but man, he fell off in a hurry. Antonio Brown.
Goodbye.
Ooh, man.
Now I don't think he will make the Hall of Fame. He'd had some really dominant years, but considering what his career has become and the fact that he quit mid-game, I think is going to keep him out of any Hall of Fame.
He's got a lot of TO to him, man. He's like mini TO.
Oh, I disagree. I would take TO all day.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, TO is way
would-
better. TO's
No,
better.
Even from his off the field standpoint stuff, man, T.O. is anything that he ever did, he was never the kind of distraction that this guy's been.
Yeah, that's
He
true.
never went after his teammates. T.O., he may not have been perfect, but I would take him and his off field stuff all day.
T.O. would never just quit mid-game and walk off the field. The guy played with a broken leg in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Give me T.O. So we'll say no.
No to Antonio. Antonio, no.
2020, we have Patrick Mahomes.
Officer Mahoney.
He's going to be a Hall of Famer. He's already got a Super Bowl under him. And you got to say yes to him, right?
Yeah.
And
next one. This one's interesting. 2021, coming off of his MVP season, Lamar Jackson, the current day Michael Vick.
Yeah. I'd say no, man.
So go back
like Cam Newton.
We were in Las Vegas and they were in the middle of just drilling everybody they played. And I remember sitting in the bar with you guys and saying, he's just not that good. I don't understand. I get it. He can run the football and I get it. He can hit you with play actions when you devote your entire defense to stopping the run. He can hit guys down the field, but put him in a 2-minute drill. He's lost. He has no idea what to do. So I'm not a fan. I don't like Lamar Jackson. It's a big no for me.
Yeah, I would say no, although this is one of the ones that it's really early to tell because he may at some point become a more consistent quarterback, maybe win some Super Bowls at some point. And we would be forced to say yes.
I see zero effort from him trying to learn how to be a pocket passer in any way. And the legs, he's not even a big quarterback. He's not going to hold up running the way he runs.
Now, if he goes on, I mean, this is very hypothetical, but if he goes on to win, let's say 2 Super Bowls, 2 Super Bowl MVPs, would we be forced to say yes?
Would I say yes to Eli Manning? I would say no. You guys might outvote me, but I would say no.
I'll put you on the spot, Junior. Right now, would you rather have Lamar Jackson or Dak?
I'd rather have Dak. I think Dak is a much better pocket passer. Much
they're
better.
not even in the same.
No, I know. I thought Junior was more of an anti-Dak guy. I figured he might.
I mean, I don't think Dak's perfect, and I don't know that he necessarily warrants.
Well, nobody
with his performance being a top 5.
But the reason I brought that up is because
I don't know
league wide, it seems like Lamar Jackson's considered more highly, like in terms of media and league wide, but I think Dak's better.
That's important.
Some of that has to do with all of the Sports Center highlights, all of those crazy runs. And another aspect of it is the Baltimore Ravens have had a really consistent, team winning. They've had good records.
Get into the playoffs and get their butts kicked every year. Listen, if you watch, like even if you go back to the Super Bowl, Patrick Mahomes is an athletic quarterback. He had a nice run in the Super Bowl because he needed it. Dak is a very athletic quarterback. He's had some really nice runs in his, especially early 2016, 2017 here in Dallas. But those guys know that a real offense, if you really want to be dangerous, it's when you're multiple. With a quarterback running the ball, there's nothing multiple about that. But when I drop back to pass and there's 4 or 5 guys in the route and I'm finding those guys that are open and we're moving the ball and we're scoring a lot of points, I become very difficult to stop. That's why when the Ravens get to the playoffs, they keep getting stopped. They get stopped because their offense just isn't that good. It's very one-dimensional.
Yes.
They basically run the ball and play action, whereas they literally can line up Patrick Mahomes and Dak and Justin Herbert and the dude with the Bills.
Josh Allen.
Yeah, they line up in shotgun and just literally I'm going to sling it around and there's nothing you can do about it.
And here's a hot sports opinion. Give me Derek Carr over Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, I wouldn't even have a big problem with that. He's kind of spare too, but give me the pocket passer.
All right, so we will say no to Lamar Jackson. Last but not least, 2022, another dual players on the cover, Brady and Mahomes, both either in the Hall, going to be Hall of Famers.
Copy paste.
Yeah.
I mean, they've both already been on. We said yes to both of them.
Yeah, so those are definitely in. So let's go ahead and compile our yeses. And as I do the math.
How many do they have, Bob?
How many do you have?
Yes. How many does yes have? If you ask PD, probably like 30.
I'd say about 10.
It's a little high, maybe 5. All right. So counting up the yeses, we have a total of 13.
Oh,
which means that you both went over. Yeah.
So we were all over, but I was the closest.
Yeah. So we're going to get the burp, 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 burp.
I'd like to go back and change my vote on Peyton Hillis.
You want to give him a yes?
I want to use my exemption on Peyton Hillis.
All right. So because nobody was a winner, Madden is rolling over in his grave. He's going to haunt us for not getting this number correct. But awesome topic nonetheless. So if anybody out there disagrees with us, thinks that Peyton Hillis is a first ballot Hall of Famer and deserved to be on the Madden cover, you can reach out to us on Twitter at HowManyPodcasts. You can email us, howmanypodcasts@gmail.com. We also have a YouTube channel. We have all of our archived old episodes, howmanypodcasts.com. You want to reach Gary? He is at lukewarm. He's a lukewarm tall boy. Funny story. No, Gary is at travel_cowboy. Bob is at lukewarm tall boy, along with at Ben and Scoop and all of the other various podcasts that he's running. Also, do not forget, Gary is also running his own podcast, Fix This Shit Rich.
How about y'all fix this shit, Rich?
which he does with UK Mark, who would have said yes to OBJ and forced him onto this list. So make sure to check them out. What is that website again, Gary?
Fixitrich.net.
Yes, lots of Cowboys content, lots of draft content. Make sure to check them out. But for now, thanks for listening, and we will talk to you soon.
EA Sports. It's in the game.
Man, get out my way and watch out as I come through. Busting in your line, cracking helmets in. I bring the pain, so what you gon' do? Stand there and just get shook out ya. So clean out your locker, I'm out to get ya. Cause I just popped ya. You can't take the pressure, you might as well